Have you ever wondered why debugging is not taught in school? Most developers actually learn it on the job, and only a lucky few have a mentor to guide them through the process. In this video, we're going to present a systematic approach to debugging that you can use as a checklist on your debugging journey. Debugging demands discipline, and is easy to get off course and waste valuable time. We'll show you how to make sound trade-offs and use good judgment. So whether you're a beginner or an experienced developer, this video is for you. Follow along as we share our tips and tricks for effective debugging. And remember, feel free to use these in any order. There's no right or wrong way to debug. Now let's start by discussing the importance of having the right mindset when it comes to debugging challenging problems. It can mean the difference between giving up too early or ultimately solving the issue. When facing tough debugging challenges, it's important to keep in mind the following things. First, remember the computers are logical, and there's always a logical explanation for the issue at hand, even if it may seem impossible to find at the moment. Second, being stuck is only temporary, and with persistence and effort, the issue will eventually be resolved. Third, it's important to know your limits and recognize when it's time to seek help from others who may have more expertise. Finally, it's not always necessary to spend a significant amount of effort in resolving every bug. We should prioritize bugs based on their potential impact and severity. We should accept the fact that some bugs may not be worth the effort. Now let's start by covering the basics. When we receive a bug report from a customer, it's important to gather as much information about it as possible. Request a screenshot or a screen recording from the customer if possible. Additionally, collect detailed steps to reproduce the issue and gather all relevant logs, including any error messages associated with the bug. The goal is to obtain as much information as possible to help us reproduce the problem. We can isolate the environment and context where the issue occurs. We can try to recreate it on a staging server and see if we could reproduce the problem. Having a reproducible environment is half the battle. Now that we have a reproducible environment, how should we investigate the bug? Here are a few strategies to consider. First, use print statements liberally. They can help construct a timeline of what happened and determine if the event we expected to happen in the code actually lined up with the print statements. For some language ecosystems, setting up a debugger may be a viable option. For example, systems like Erlang OTP have excellent introspection capability, making the debugger an excellent first tool to reach for. Ultimately, if we can reproduce the bug, it should not be too difficult to get to the bottom of it. While it will take time and patience, following the strategies that we mentioned above should solve the issue eventually. Now, what if we can't reproduce the issue? Well, that's much tougher. It may require some luck and a lot of patience. Let's try to understand why we sometimes have so much trouble reproducing the issue. Here are a few common scenarios. Some bugs only appear under production loads, and some bugs appear under production load only in certain race conditions. There may be specific context or environment on the customer's device that triggers the bug. What can we do in these situations? Here are a few ideas. If there is a specific error, we trace the code from the line where the error occurred all the way up the call stack. Comb through all the logs for clues and build a timeline by following one failed request through the entire request lifecycle. If we're lucky, we may be able to come up with a theory as to what is happening. Next, we can add logging to the code to prove the theory and deploy it to production or ship it to the customer. Repeat this process until we gather more clues and eventually solve the issue. Keep in mind that this cycle can be lengthy and frustrating, but persistence is key. Finally, let's review some general strategies to consider when we are completely stuck. Take a break. Sometimes stepping away from the problem and coming back with a fresh mind can provide new insights. Sleep on it, get some exercise, or engage in a different activity to clear your mind. Get a rubber duck. Sometimes talking about the problem out loud can lead to a light bulb moment. For others, Writing out the problem or emailing an imaginary mentor about it can help generate new ideas and perspectives. Get help. Don't hesitate to collaborate with someone else on a problem. A fresh set of eyes and a different perspective can often help to reveal new solutions. Debugging can be tough, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can overcome any challenge. Good luck. If you like our videos, you may like our weekly system design newsletter as well. It covers topics and trends in large-scale system design, trusted by 250,000 readers. Subscribe at blog.bytego.com.